That's That on That Podcast. My vision for the podcast necessarily was always to help people. My vision for the podcast is to help everybody, help the world with one conversation at a time. Whether it's a conversation with me and the JB Gangettes, or whether it's a conversation with me and another podcaster, whether it's a conversation with me and a friend, or whatever guest co-host that's going to be on the podcast. Season 2 of That's That on That Podcast. I wanted to switch it up a little bit. I'm learning more in producing and engineering. I do produce all of my shit. I do everything by myself. I mean, that's what I do. Would it be whether it's producing, whether it's creating a soundtrack, whether it's making the beat. I like the beat. Whether it is concepts, ideas, everything comes straight from the brain of JB. Papi JB. I'm here. It's me. And I just really like to dig into my art bag, my artist bag, if that makes sense. I've never been one of the people to be like, oh, I'm an artist, this and that, blah, 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 blah. Because usually when you just hear artist, you just associate that with just music. And my entire life, I've been more than, I've always been an artist. But it was more than just music and everything else like that. For real, I've always loved music, but I didn't really start getting into music as far as applying my own shit, my own voice, my own techniques professionally until I started my podcast. Actually, really until I got my MacBook. Shout out to Vidya. Okay. For me, growing up, knowing that I've always loved art, it started with coloring books. Then, it goes into painting and sculpting and putting shit together. You know what I mean? It's just designing. I do, for people that don't know, but if you know, you know. I do design. Lines will be coming out. Merch will be coming out. And, everything's going up in the future. I want to dig into my deepest artist bag, because I love art. And that's what everything in life, honestly, for me is. It's kind of art. I see everything from an artistic perspective. I see art in everything because everything is art. So when I say I'm an artist, I can't speak for nobody else. But when I say I'm an artist, I say I'm an artist in every form of the aspect. We can dibble and dabble in a little music, still learning, still strengthening. Don't come for me unless I send for you. Painting, that's all in my wheelhouse. Designing, sculpting, whether it's home improvement, interior, exterior. I have an eye for a lot of different artistic aspects. I love all forms of art. Art to me is a form of expression. I can feel art. I not only can see art, I can hear art. As crazy as that shit sound, niggas are like, nigga, are you okay? Are you high? Just a little bit, but that's not your business. However, like I said, I can feel art. I can see art. And honestly, if you really listen to the podcast, you'll really just hear me going through journeys, me telling you guys from my perspective of shit that I've been through. And, outcomes, overcomes, and all of the other good shit. So we can get to the income. It's a form of expression. My brain, sometimes I feel like overconsumes. And I'm not mad at it because, knowledge is power. But in the form of, I always have a million thoughts in my head all the time. We're working on that, though. Mind over matter, getting that shit together and, all that other shit. It's my imagination, though, for a lot of different things. And, it's one thing I've always stuck with, my imagination. You gotta have imagination. Imagination is the best thing. Because imagination is nothing but vision. Vision for the bigger picture. Your vision is basically your personal movie, your personal crystal ball, for a lack of better terms, of what you can either become, what you can do, what's to come. It's all in what you put your mind to and what you put your work in. So I've always had a broad imagination, and I always pride myself on trying to think outside the box. Although, we're pretty much brainwashed, especially living in America, but pretty much brainwashed from birth to be robots and be everything else, and to be in a box, and you only can do this, you only can do that. You have to stay into social standards and constructs. Nobody has time for that shit. That shit is ghetto as fuck. Now, sometimes, you do get creatively blocked, but that's another story for another day. But going back to artistry, music has been a huge part of my life. I mean, to know me is to know it's a jingle coming around in some part of our conversation. And that's just how my brain works. I love music. Music it's in my top 5 favorite forms of art. It allows me to actually feel and connect to the frequencies, and music definitely can alter your state of mind. Music can definitely help. Music can be therapy. Music can vibe you out. Music is an escape. Music can put you in places that you necessarily wouldn't see yourself in those moments. And music is honestly like one of the number one conduits to feeling in the world, to direct feeling, if that makes sense. If y'all know what I mean. If you know, so it's all about a vibe for me. I had this nice crazy idea to be like, you know what, at least from my vantage point, and I haven't seen or heard the shit, I was like, I want to incorporate music a little bit more into what I'm doing as a podcaster. Season 1 was cool. Season 1 was more topic based with a little bullshit. Some bullshit was angry. Don't try to shut me down. But y'all permanent background music and stuff like that, although with the AI and stuff, it does a nice job with leveling automatically, and you don't have to worry about doing all of that. But it's trash. It's too generic, too gentrified. A lot of people, I do know they don't use backgrounds or anything, any instruments or anything else like that for their podcast, and that's cool. That's you. Power to you, because I'm gonna listen to your shit. But for me, I just had a great grand idea to not only incorporate my background music, or should I say background music, but incorporate, different ad-libs and different riffs and runs and melodies and melodics to actually, I want you guys to feel what I'm saying when I say it and not just hear it. Also, too, I want you to get a vibe. I want you to catch a vibe at all times, because I like to vibe the fuck out. Like I said, music is one of the best conduits to change your state of mind. So with this podcast, I want you to relax, relate, release. I definitely want you to leave with some form of information that you didn't know, or something that you did know but you now know where to apply it to in your life. I want to have a good time. And then also too, like I said, I like to be different. I don't like to be like everybody else. So with the musically inclined part of the podcast, that's just me adding in some nice original soundtracks, some sampled if it's called for, and all of the additives, my backgrounds, my ad-libs, the funny jokes, all of that ha he he. What my artistic goal for the listeners is to have you listen to the podcast necessarily for my brain. Any form of art that I do, it starts in this big ass noggin. This big ass my brain is really sometimes overactive. It's annoying as fuck. And I sometimes feel that I'm an alternative thinker, which means I'm gonna think of all of the shit that you're not thinking about and the shit that you are thinking about. So I'm thinking about everything. You know what I mean? And I mean, it has its pros and its cons. It usually is pros because it lets you see all sides. It lets you not jump to the gun too quick and actually analyze and assess everything. So when I say I want you guys to hear from my brain, I want all of my art to reflect how I see things, or how I review things, or what's going on in my brain when I'm doing things or seeing things. Because this shit, I always get a joke. And some things, could be twisted humor, could be dark humor. Mental instability. No, we're not claiming that, but you know what I mean? It's just, I want you to see it from how I see it. Because like I said, sometimes I find it hard to explain myself. And not necessarily like I gotta prove myself. I mean, prove myself in certain spaces in life. But, we're not gonna go there. Either way, sometimes I find it hard to always put my emotions into words, because I feel so many different things at one time. So art, honestly, is a great release, because sometimes shit don't need words. It just needs color, or it just needs some some motions. It needs some movement. It needs some swiggles, some Mr. Jingles, hashtag JB Jingle Jams, or it needs a beat. It needs just a form of expression where you can just let it out of your brain. And sometimes, and that's why abstract art is my favorite form of art. But enough about so doing the musically inclined part, I really just want to incorporate everything that I pretty much just said. All of my thoughts, or when I listen back to my recordings and stuff like that, it is truly just a conversation. You know what I mean? Whether I'm doing a solo show or I'm doing a combined show. So in that conversation, you're going to get the extra thoughts, which is, the ad-libs. You're going to get the transitions, which I want all of my instrumentals to basically tell a story or be a journey of the conversation. If you are into music or into composition or into theater, whatever the case may be, you understand with like arrangements and stuff like that, background tracks, all of that sets tone and sets mood and all of that other good shit that producer talk. I'm pretty sure you're not here for that. So with season 2, I wanted to switch it up. Season 1 was cool, season 1 was flat. For me at least, and it's start to season. At least for what I want to creatively bring to everything that I do. I want to do everything kind of sort of, and I don't want to always do it the same that somebody else did. That's boring as fuck. And then furthermore, a lot of shit is oversaturated, so you have to stand out in what you do. Season 2 has been more so life-based. It necessarily wasn't my first direction that I wanted to go in when I was planning out what I wanted to do with season 2, but life had other plans, because life be life. And life is just, you gotta follow your spirit, you gotta follow your gut, you gotta follow your true instinct. And I just can't, I like everything organic, so I can't necessarily just want to just come up here and talk about enough or something that's not on my brain, because then it'll fall flat, and then it's like, okay, cool, informational, but cool. Probably not even gonna release it. So season 2 has been life-based so far, because I want to speak from my experience. I don't want to just give you misinformation or something that I don't know about or something. I don't want to talk about something that I have not experienced, because the fuck I look like a false prophet. Y'all ain't even paying me enough to do this shit, and I just fuck I look like, well, you know what I'm saying? So plans for season 2 going forward. We're definitely going to be back by the end of January 2023. Hashtag ThatsThatOnThatPodcast Studios. I definitely want to bring back vibe sessions, but we want to switch vibe sessions up on how we did it last year. We want to do it with all the vibe sessions, or most of my vibe sessions going forward would actually be live. I probably would do that on Instagram Live or on YouTube, one of the two, where I'll let you guys see that coming forward. Visuals definitely coming by season 3. Full visuals coming by season 3. Also, I'm going to be incorporating music interviews from local artists. I am based in Delaware at the very moment. However, if any other local artist that's not in Delaware want an interview or want to hop on, hit me up. We can see what we can try to schedule virtually or whatever we need to do to get that done. Definitely want to start doing small giveaways for JB Gang Gang. Of course, once again, shout out to all of my supporters. I really do appreciate it. Just want to talk about life. I've been going through life, and I just want, because I know I'm not the only motherfucker in life to be going through this shit. You know what I'm saying? I know life ain't just whooping has not in the past just whooped my ass. And ain't beat nobody else ass. What K Michelle say? That man beat my ass! That's not funny, but insert that clip. But life is going up, and we walking on sunshine. Appreciate everybody that's been rocking with me, and that's that on that podcast. I appreciate everybody that shares, likes, comment, follows, tells a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a mama. Call him JB. Call him Papi. Definitely all the way in my artistic bag. So hashtag TTOT podcast productions.
You little nasty.